Hi, welcome to Cooking Like Cali. Welcome back. This is still quarantine edition. We're gonna start off with a stuffed salmon today. I got some center cut salmon. We're gonna stuff it with some cheese and spinach, and we're gonna blacken them, not just pan fry, not bake, blacken. We're also gonna do some seafood Etoufee. We have some shrimp, crawfish, and a little chicken sausage. We're gonna try to stay away from the pork on this dish. This is strictly chicken and seafood dish. We're gonna start with the stuffed salmon. I have 1 block of cream cheese. Now, spinach, however you wanna do it, you know a little spinach goes no way. But we're not gonna cook the inside of the actual filling. I know I've seen some recipes where they cook the actual filling. Don't cook the filling. You can just open up your salmon and stuff it. So we're gonna put just a block of cream cheese, bundle up, I say about a cup uncooked spinach. So chop that up real finely. That'll go into your mix. I'm gonna grab the salmon from the fridge as well. And I'm talking everything, stems and all. As long as you cut it up, it'll be fine. That salmon is gonna be good. You won't be able to tell anyway. So your spinach, let me grab the salmon. I've got just your regular salmon. They usually cut it in a deli. I had them cut me some salmon, and you can get them from H-E-B. I usually get mine from H-E-B. Make sure when you get your salmon that you are actually, like, kind of rub your hands over it. Sometimes salmon will have really, really, really small, they call them bones, but it's more of a gristle type feeling. So if you get that, just pull it out. You can take some tweezers. Make sure they're kitchen tweezers. Don't use tweezers that's, you know, from your face. Now, I'll use a smaller knife so you can see what I'm doing. You take it, and I say about a 1/4 inch away from the very end. You go in about 1 inch deep, and you bring that cut all the way about a 1/4 inch to the other end. You do that to all 4 salmon. Don't cut all the way through. If you cut all the way through the salmon, you're gonna have stuffing coming out both sides. I've seen it, I don't like it. You know, I'm particular about how my food looks and tastes. So make sure that you're not hitting the very end. You might hear it on the cutting board, but if you pierce it all the way through, you're gonna get a messy salmon. So I'll show you. It's like a little mini pocket. You wanna get in there and show them. That'll be like a mini pocket that you put your stuffing in. All right. Now you can push those away for a second. We're gonna season them. We're gonna season them before we put them in the pan, and we're also gonna season them while they're in the pan so that our butter will have a taste. We're gonna blacken it, so you know you got a high heat, lots of butter, lots of good blackening seasoning. We have cream cheese. We also have spinach and mozzarella cheese. We're gonna use a good mozzarella cheese. I have my measuring cup here because I've tried to get you guys to understand what I'm cooking at the time. You can use about 2 cups. About 2 cups. Now you'll multiply it, you know, times however many people that you're actually feeding. You have your cheese, and you're gonna add a little seafood seasoning. You can use a Cajun seasoning. I also have my, of course, Flavor Guide seasoning. I'm gonna grab those so I can show you what I actually use. I use that one. That's nothing but like a seafood seasoning for anything. You can use it on whatever. It gives you more of a kick, less salt. Now again, we have our mozzarella. We have about 2 cups of mozzarella to about a cup, maybe a little bit under a cup, 3/4 cups of spinach chopped finely. Make sure it's chopped finely. You don't want it real spinachy. And then you have your block of cream cheese. This one is your garlic lovers. And I know you guys are gonna be mad at me, but let's go ahead and start. You want your cream cheese to be softened. So when you buy it, if you're gonna cook it that same day, just leave it out. Don't put it in the fridge. Put your mozzarella in the fridge because it's better when it melts. Make sure that your cream cheese is melted. Therefore, it'll blend easier with the rest of your cheese and spinach. Now, I know you see my hands, so I'm gonna be, what do you call that, ambidextrous right now and use this one. This is garlic lovers, and you guys know that fits me perfect. There's also a lemon garlic. The lemon garlic is good for seafood, especially fish, like your salmon, because salmon has a particular taste. It gets real flaky, but I promise you, blackened salmon is so much different than a baked salmon, or, you know, I don't really like a lot of baked fish because they lose a lot of their moisture. So your lemon and garlic, and I know I'm eyeballing it, but I'm gonna be honest with you. You season to taste. I usually do maybe about a 1/4 cup of my garlic, everything, because I usually put them in here. I have them pre-measured. So you're gonna use about a 1/4 cup of all the seasonings put together. So divide it amongst within the bowl. And if you see everything, you wanna mix it all the way through. You don't want just a big old clump of cream cheese. You really want all the cheese and all the spinach and everything, seasonings as well, to get through there. Now, this is about the consistency that you want, because it's not gonna be a lot. You could do prepare about 8 salmon with this amount. So let's start. I'm gonna open my salmon. Make sure there's no bones within the middle as well. And if they are, just take them out. It's not that serious. I'm already making a mess, but my hands are pretty dirty. Take about, I wanna say, what is this, about a 1/3 cup of filling. And with your hands, just get it in there, get it in there. Now it might look like it's overfilled, but the way I blacken on every single angle. So every part of the salmon is gonna be cooked. If you're not good with like blackening fish, or, you know, whatever you're using as far as, you know, to stuff it with, use less filling so that it's more flat, so that you get more of an even cook. I'm gonna stuff the rest of these and I'm gonna be right back. Now that we have our salmons cut, we got lemon and garlic. We're gonna start with that. And you wanna season the entire, I'm talking about the outside of the stuffing and everything. The more seasoning, the better when you're blackening. Now don't quote me on that. When you're blackening, I put as much seasoning because I use a lot of butter when I'm blackening my stuff. I have some blackening seasoning. It's actually by the pot, so you're gonna flip them. And I know a lot of people like the skin. You're gonna season the skin? Yes, you're gonna season the skin. Now, I invested in one of these because I like seeing them when I go out, and they make the best, you know, eggs, but they flip salmon the best for this size. It's the exact same size as the actual salmon, so it makes it easier for me to flip. Now, when I put them in the pan, you wanna do like a non-stick skillet, put them skin side down first. So you might hear a little sizzle. I can put all 4 in at the same time. And we're gonna let them start to cook. Now, the thing about salmon, when you allow it to cook, it starts to get white, but when it starts to push out that white, it's kind of like milky looking. You're overcooking it and you're cooking it way too fast. So make sure you're flipping your salmon. I have some shrimp shells boiling for a shrimp stock. That's actually for our Etoufee. Let's allow this salmon to take its place for a second. I'm gonna grab the blackening seasoning and we'll be right back. Now, if you're gonna blacken anything, make sure you have unlimited amounts of butter. Butter is the closest part to my soul. Now I add butter as I cook them. That's what creates like that whole magical taste, because butter is great. Now we're adding some blackening season because we're about to flip our salmon. I see it getting a little white on the sides, and by white on the sides, I mean here, anywhere that's not placed directly down on this, like the actual skillet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it, flip it. I'm not scared, my hands, you know, they're clean. Now, flip it all the way. And once you flip it, don't burn yourself, girl. You see how that butter caught the actual stuffing? that stuffing is going to be cooking as well. The entire time, you cannot walk away from anything that's blackening because it's easier to burn. Now, make sure you're using butter and not margarine. Butter will burn immediately, especially with something at this high of a heat. So continue to add butter, real butter. You can use unsalted butter. I have salted because I'm using it for something else, but I like the unsalted sweet cream butter. So once you start the same way, once you start seeing the salmon actually like whiten up on one side, salmon flakes easily, but being that we have it stuffed, you want to make sure that you're not just cooking the outside, you want to cook the inside too. So towards the end, I'm going to turn it to a lower heat and just let them slowly cook. I'm getting the blackened actual on each side right now though. I have my rice. I made some rice earlier for my actual etouffee. I'm going to begin my etouffee as soon as we get this salmon out. I really want to plate it so that you can see that it's cooked on both the inside and outside. Now that I have it somewhat blackened, I want to flip it. I know it sounds weird, but if you have a good enough non-stick skillet, flip it on that actual stuffing side. That cheese is going to melt. It may seem like it's going to stick, but if you have enough butter, make sure you're moving it around so the butter can get underneath. Look how nice that's blackened. And you can add some garlic in the pan. I usually will use a sauce. I'll take that salmon out, add some heavy whipping cream, and use that as a base for like a fish sauce. You can add shrimp, whatever you want to do to it. You can add some more crawfish. You can do whatever. It doesn't really matter, but don't let that butter go to waste. Move that butter around. Make sure that salmon is being cooked all the way through. This is where your spatula comes in hand. Now, I'm gonna add a little bit more butter. Like I said, you're probably gonna go through an entire stick of butter. If you wanna use more than that, you can, but right when every time you're about to flip it, add more butter so that whatever side you flip it on can be just as blackened. Okay, now what you're gonna do is, I'm gonna use my hands. I know if you're scared of the hot butter, don't do that. Get all the way under and flip it back to the skin side. So once I flip them all, I'll show you what I do. You just take that burnt cheese off. It's like actual just cheese. That means your inside is cooked because that cheese is completely melted. What I do, I take some of that butter, spread them across. This is probably my favorite way to make salmon. I don't like boring food, so when you see me cooking, it's mainly seafood because I like the way it tastes, of course, or chicken. But I'm not sure how they're gonna be doing this new stuff as far as all these places shutting down, how we're gonna be getting food. I might need to invest into a farm because we're gonna need food. Look at that. Shout out to my family in LA. They let me know that they were tuning in. I'm excited. Now this is the time that you can actually turn your fire down just a tad. Mine is almost at like a medium high. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it down to a medium. If you have a top, you can put a top on it. I have a top here handy, so I'm gonna let my salmon kind of cook. Remember, that is the skin side down. Make sure it's the skin side down because you're gonna overcook the top if you flip it back that way. I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna go full with some vegetables and we'll be right back. All right, we've taken the top off. Our salmon has gotten real golden. You see our cheese sauce is falling out. Take your mini spatula. It's not gonna hurt it. Uh-oh, watch that butter. If you feel like it's not cooked the way you want it, trust me, they are all the way cooked. That steam, when you put that top on it, it's gonna cook it all the way through. So from beginning to end, meaning start to finish, the first time you put it in the skillet versus the last time you take it out, you're gonna give yourself about 10 to 13 minutes. So you start skillet side down, you turn it all the way to the actual stuffing side and then the blackening side. So let's take these out. Oh yeah, it's definitely done. Here's one. Look at that. Two. Whew. My goodness. This is like perfection. I love salmon. I just don't like frozen salmon. It has to be fresh for me to really just be intrigued by it. Now, this is our stuffed salmon. It looks so good. I kind of don't want to play with it, but I'm gonna dive. Y'all, let's dive into one of these. Let's be nice. Oh my gosh. Look how flaky that is. That is really good. This will be mine. I'll eat one side so y'all won't be thinking I'm making y'all eat after me. That's it. When it falls out that easily, that's so good. I recently went to a steak place, being that some things, we're in Houston. Some places are open, some places are still not. Now, I ordered a salmon. The salmon was, she told me, medium. And I've never been anywhere that they don't cook the salmon all the way through. So I'm like, wait a minute, is that a thing? If that's a thing, y'all let me know. I don't want to discriminate, but I like my salmon cooked all the way through. I don't like it burnt, but make sure it's cooked. Now, stuffed salmon. So for everybody asking for that video, I tried to make it as easy as possible. I'm about to share it with friends. This, I can't stop eating it. It's so good. Good job, Cali. We're gonna start with this. I can move this out the way real quick. Let me move my fork. I know y'all don't want my fork. Now, we're gonna start chopping up some vegetables for our etouffee.